So to start, what I'm going to do is undo these two 15mm bolts at the top here, and then these two at the bottom. The door will still be connected with the wires here. All right, with a 13mm, remove both of those. I'm going to break this top one free, but I'm actually going to leave it on until all the rest come off. All right, so at this point, the only thing holding this door on is that top bolt. With someone supporting the door, I'm going to remove the last bolt here. Okay, the last bolt is out. Okay, so I'm going to show you the top hinge. The bottom one is going to be exactly the same, so I'm only going to show you this one. So on the bottom, I think the most efficient way is to cut a slice on the bottom of the pin where it looks just like this, and then with a chisel and a hammer, pop it off. That's going to get loose, and then you can drive it up and out. All right, so I ground off the bottom piece. Now with an air hammer, you can use a regular hammer. This just makes it go a little faster. I'm going to try and drive this pin up. There we go. Keep in mind which direction this piece of the hinge went in, because obviously you can't put it backwards. It won't work very well. And now we're left with this, and the two bushings that are in there have to get driven out, and we have to press in the new ones. There's one. There's two. All right, so here's the door part of the hinge. I have my bushing. I put just a little bit of grease there just so it doesn't continue to rust. Press it on by hand. Obviously it's not going to go in by hand. This is a very tight fit here. Then take your hammer and just drive it in the rest of the way. Remember that this outer lip was on the outside on both sides, so at the top of the hinge it was up, at the bottom of the hinge it was down. So make sure you drive it in the right way. And make sure it's fully seated. All right, perfect. That's good right there. Let's do the other side. That looks good to me. Now let's put this back into place. And let's drive the pin down. Make sure it lines up with everything. Perfect. There's this little C-clip that is provided with the pin kit. You have to press this on to lock the pin in. This is not the easiest thing to do just because it's so small and it just wants to fly off, but I'm going to try and press it on with the screwdriver. Oh, almost. Now I'm going to take my door, try to line it up, and start in the bolts. All right, I got one started. Okay, now I'm not going to make these snug yet. I'm going to put the bottom ones in, then I'll tighten them up. All right, with the bottom ones started and snugged up, let's do the same to these. I'm just going to make them nice and tight with my wrench. That should be plenty. Before we go any further, let's see how everything lines up, because sometimes when the hinges don't bolt onto the door properly, the door latch will have trouble lining up. So let's test that first. Now go ahead and test out your new door pins. Make sure everything lines up. If for some reason the latch does not line up, just loosen up the bolts that go on the door and kind of just adjust it back and forth, up, down, left, right. Just make sure that the latch will easily latch onto the striker, and then tighten them up.